Thank you.
Gosh, that was close. Oh my God.
If it's in, Roger Federer has won his 18th major.
In the minutes after you won the Australian Open, the camera caught you and Mirka together. That was one of the most, I don't lose it that much. Normally I'm pretty good, but that was just such a pretty moment.
Yeah.
It was lovely and it was long.
Yeah. No, the nice thing about it for me was, because you come back from a center court, from winning a match, and you don't know how it is when you pass around the corner on who's there, who's the first person to congratulate. Sometimes it's like a random person you've never seen before. For Mirka to be there right away and just see what it meant to her, which I knew it meant a lot to her and myself, and to have that big moment where we could just like hug it out and say like, man, it was all worth it, and just to feel that the happiness, it was nice. It was beautiful.
It was beautiful.
It's the renewal of perhaps the greatest rivalry in the sport's history. 18 Grand Slams for Roger, 14 for Rafa.
Two of the most legendary athletes in any sport take the court once again.
That's nicely done.
That was unbelievable.
Coverage from Nadal.
Oh, come on. Get out of town.
A magical shot from Nadal.
Is this guy human anymore? Oh my God, what a shot.
And the fact that you two are playing each other again, deciding huge titles again, surely you did not expect that,
No.
surely.
No. I did mention it, I think, on center court at the prize giving ceremony in Australia. When I went to visit his academy back in Mallorca, in Manacor, in around September, before the tournament in Basel, and he told me like he's going to pull out because of his wrist, maybe, I don't know, whatever it was. And I was there, we're trying to play with kids, and I told him, look, I can only do so much with my knee. I can volley and walk, run a little bit, but I can't do like anything, like any exhibition with you. I'm so sorry. He goes, hey, no problem, it's great. I anyway can't do much myself. And 4 months later, here we are, Australian Open final, Miami final. I win Indian Wells, he wins Monaco, and we're on a roll. I think it's great for tennis. It's also great for both of us.
You exude such joy when you win, and there are and I just wonder if you know how you're going to react to match point, because sometimes you crumble to the ground, or sometimes you like jump up in the air like a little kid. Both reactions are fine.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering, at that moment when something magnificent has happened to your life,
What goes through the head?
yes, how do you decide how to show it?
I think sometimes you visualize it almost. Like it could be the day before, sometimes it could be the day of the match, sometimes it could be the game before or the match point before, and sometimes you don't think of it. You just hope you get over the finish line. And then often I think it depends on how match point was played. Because of course, if you have a long rally and you finish up with a on-the-run forehand winner, you can't just drop to the ground. So if it happens, after a serve and you see the like the return sailing out, and you have time to like, okay, and then you're like, oh my God, like it feels so good. Like I am so exhausted, so relieved, so happy all at once. That's sometimes when you drop to the ground. And then it depends also what tension you felt. So let's say you pick the 2009 match when I beat Roddick at Wimbledon, where I'm jumping up and down like jumping jack, you know. You realize I was so tense and I was so hoping to win that break point that I'm like, when it was over, I was like, oh my God, like ping pong, you know, you're jumping up and down. So the good thing is like, I can't always control it, but I'm happy I can share my emotions with the people, and the people are actually really generally happy to see me, that I celebrating, to see that I care of the result I achieved.
To see that it means so much.
Yeah, it does mean a lot, yeah.
How much does it mean, again, I know your boys are too young to understand what you do. How much does it mean to your girls to see their dad do these things? I mean, does it make it that much better to be doing what you're doing now that your kids are in the stands?
Yeah, I mean, they understand a little bit. You know, when they're in the stadium, like in Indian Wells, that's cool, that's nice. But then in Miami, they didn't come to the finals, and I came back, and I didn't bring the trophy back. And for them, it felt like I went to practice. So I came back and we had a pillow fight, you know? So I think it depends.
That's what all Miami Open champions do.
Right.
Yes.
No, so it really, I think it depends, you know? So I think they know I play a lot of tennis. They understand the difference between the matches and practice. So I try to educate them, but yet I try to keep it very subtle, especially when it comes to my professional life. They don't know my ranking. They don't know how good I really am or how good the others are. I tell them how good all the other players are. If they meet Stan or Rafa or Novak or Andy, I tell them these guys are unbelievable, you know. And so, but they see it as an extended family, I think. So I think they have a good balance, and I like it that way.
To the day here at Wimbledon. Some can scarcely believe it. And Federer's record of reaching quarterfinals at Grand Slams ends at 36.
Never in my wildest dreams did I ever expect to see a day like today.
A couple of years ago when you were playing with a bad back, I think that's when a lot of us thought, wow, maybe this guy's never going to get to be the Roger Federer of old again. How much were you doubting yourself then?
The problem with the back is, or my back anyway, but I think everybody who's had back pain in the past knows, you know, sometimes it's bad, sometimes it's a bit better, then it goes really bad again. It feels like you have fog in your head, you know, and eventually you just get tired of it, because going through life with always back pain is just not fun. And then often, you know, I didn't talk about it either, so people didn't know I had a bad back.
We just thought you were going down.
Right, and then you think like, oh, he's not maybe moving as well, or he's now lost again in the quarters or in the semis. He looks older, and I did probably look older because I'm not as, you know, I'm not as happy maybe around, because I am now worried, and I'm, you know, thinking all the time, when is my back going to get better? And that's why playing too long hurt or injured is not good for your game, and it's not good for anybody, because at the end people judge you the wrong way. That's why I think the lesson I learned is like, go out a step away and then come back the right way. And then you can really be judged again. And then eventually I had to say that, look, my back's not good and I'm really not feeling well. And then some people might see it as, oh God, this guy has another excuse, like always, or I don't believe what he's saying, or, oh, poor guy, and then people start feeling sorry for you. And honestly, I don't need people to feel sorry for me. My career's been too good, and that's where I think it was good for me to sometimes step away from it. I don't exactly remember what happened, but I think I was going to run the bath for the girls, and I made a very simple movement, turned back, heard a click in my knee.
After struggling through a back injury for nearly the entire 2013 season, in 2016, Roger sustained a freak knee injury off the court that would keep him out of the game entirely for 6 months.
How do you get to do that? And like, you're still in your career and you have this long break and it does you nothing but good? I mean, weren't you doubting that? Wasn't it always daunting?
Yes, you doubt yourself, because I haven't been in that position before. If that would have happened to me at 22, I'd say like, okay, you know, even if I'm out for 2 years, I'm still young and I'll still be okay. but time is not really on my side now anymore. And you feel like every year that goes by, chances are slimmer and slimmer for you to win against the best, to win the biggest tournaments. So that was for me the biggest worry. I knew I was going to be able to come back in some shape or form. The worst case for me was maybe going to be back for 3-4 tournaments and just say, okay, I know my knee's not good, but let me just play a few more, enjoy myself, and then call it a day. But so the unknown was just like, how much would the knee or the body allow me to play? And I had a great build-up. I think I got really rejuvenated and fresh and ready and excited to come back on tour again. And I was finally able to speak differently to the press and everybody and just tell everybody how little expectations I really have. Because for the last 15 years, I always said more or less, I want to win the next tournament I enter, because that was reality.
Yes.
And because of this injury, it sort of reset everything, and it was a beautiful thing.
But when you were home all last year, you know, those 6 months, was there a point where your girls were saying, you know, why is Daddy always around?
Well, they saw why I was around, you know, because, I mean, first when I had the surgery and I was on crutches, you know, they get like all like frightened and they become extremely helpful, you know, and then when you start to feeling better again, they start to get naughty again, right? So that was interesting to see that. And then in the second part of the year when I couldn't play, you know, for the first part, you know, they see that I have to maybe be careful with me because maybe my knee wasn't well, or I told them, look, I can't carry you right now, I can't run after you right now just because I need to save my knee. And they've heard that many, many times because I've been hurt sometimes before, or super tired. So that's nothing new for us. It was just so nice to spend over 6-7 weeks in the same place.
Yes.
And that's something we just basically, or me, I've never had as a player ever since back in '99. And they've never had that with me as a dad as well. So I think from that standpoint with Mirka and the kids, it was just so nice to decide, where do we want to be? We have no obligations other than just being together, and we can choose where we want to be, and that was a joy.
We are very excited to have Roger Federer himself coming to Malawi and spending time with the children. He has taken time to come and see what the project and how the project is impacting on the children of Malawi. That is important.
I've seen you around all kinds of people, but when you're around kids, you are so aware of them, and I see what you bring to them, but as a father, especially now, how has it changed you when you're around those kids that you're trying to help? Everything.
I mean, I just feel so much more comfortable, you know? I just feel like I know maybe what they're thinking, or I see if they're shy, or I see if they're sad, or I see if they're the one kid that's off the side and like doesn't feel integrated. You know, you want to bring that person in and make him feel like he's part of this experience of maybe he's playing tennis for the first time, or she's super shy of meeting, you know, her favorite player maybe. And I feel like I sense that now better than ever before. When I was younger, I guess for me it was just fun to do a lot of kids clinics as I was growing up, because they used to use the younger players, like they still do today, to do a lot of kids clinics. And today they use me for PR and photo shoots for the inner city, or doing media. So I actually miss those times where I used to always play tennis with all the kids. But I enjoy my time with them, and I feel super comfortable because even though I'm still learning past, you know, I haven't been past 8 years old yet with my girls, but anything from 0 to 8, I feel like I can do that.
You're locked in.
I'm locked in in a big way.
Is that in part why you've dedicated your foundation to children and education?
I guess I struggled in school, and when I heard that, or when I realized that most people on this planet don't go to school or don't have a good school system, which is in Switzerland so normal. Everybody has education, everybody has got great quality of teachers, great classrooms, everything you need is right there. I felt like that's the right thing to do. The fact that your mom is from South Africa, how much has that guided you with your foundation, with your charity work? I think it was a natural fit. It's where I started with my first project back in Port Elizabeth, back I think it was in 2004. Yeah, I don't know. I spent a lot of time, in South Africa when I was a kid. If I look back at my vacation when I was little in the summertime, we'd always try to go 5-6 weeks to South Africa and see our family and travel around South Africa, which is for me one of the most beautiful countries in the world. And then, yet it's so beautiful, but also that country has a lot of poverty. And so when I had the chance to, help my second country in South Africa, I felt that was a great thing to do. Yet I also help with the foundation in Switzerland as well, because that's important to me too. So for me to be able to do both at the same time while I'm playing and giving back, it's a great feeling. But doing Southern Africa through my mom, I think she's been my biggest inspiration when it comes to that, for sure.
I like to say that you are pathologically optimistic. I think Bill Gates is the same way. He thinks he can create real change. He can affect real good in a way. And so it seems to me that you hanging around him makes all kinds of sense.
I mean, I hope so. I hope I can learn from him, and I hope he can tell me, what drove him to give back so much, and when that started for him. Was it at an early age, or was it much later, or is it was it a defining moment? It would be interesting to hear those stories, because as a human person, you always have a moment in time where you look back and goes like, that's when I learned the most, or that's when I was at a crossroads and I had to take a turn. And I've been there many times before, and philanthropy is something that I've been into for the last 15 years now, but it's really in the last few years now, in the last 6-7 years now, where we're able to really raise a lot of money. We've raised probably up to $50 million by now with the foundation. And then it's about the projects you find, and we're focusing on early childhood education in Southern Africa, and just getting everything right is very important. You have to be super transparent when you have your own foundation, and I've had great people, that have helped me along the way. And then, as you grow and as you meet people, you learn and you start to making better and better choices. And so, being around the likes of Bill Gates and Melinda is very, very special.
So, what was the moment for you 15 years ago that you knew you wanted to put your efforts towards the Roger Federer Foundation?
I think my first success on tour, just realizing that at a young age I was able to make money, and I didn't need that amount of money except to be able to pay for my traveling, my coaches, give back to my parents. And at the end of the day, it's like, okay, how much more money can you have? But there is a time also where you don't know how much longer can you play, how much money will you ever make in tennis, but you can definitely start early and start making a change for somebody at some level. And for me, it came early. UNICEF was also the ATP sponsor back in the day, so I learned that the ATP actually did that. Inspired me, so I think it's really good for the tour actually also to do charity, because that's going to inspire a lot of the tennis players moving forward.
Well, I think Roger Federer has set a real mark for what it is to be a champion, and how you should conduct yourself and represent the sport. And I think every sport would be lucky to have someone like Roger Federer in it. He does things with grace, he does it with class, and he does it with incredible efficiency. He's just been an absolute credit to the sport. And it'd be hard to imagine this game finding someone better than him going forward.
He's been touched by the gods as far as his tennis game is concerned. Everything about it is effortless. Everything about it is beautiful on the eye. He is the classic tennis player.
His grace never ends, Roger Federer.
Wow. The way you are living your life, the way you are comporting yourself on and off the court. Is it your parents that put that in you? Are they the ones who said this is how you're supposed to behave?
I think they let me live, and gave me the space I required and needed to grow. And I see it now with my daughters as well. They are powerful characters, and my wife, she's quite stubborn. I was very much testing the boundaries and the limits always of my parents, and I see that with my kids now too. They're doing that too. So you can either clamp down on them, or you can give them that room they need. Yet as long as they know the boundaries, it's okay. And I felt like they had the good balance. I think being polite comes from growing up in Switzerland and understanding that it's normal to have that, to respect everyone, to be polite to, especially to elders, you know, like if in a tram, I don't know, if somebody's standing and you as a young kid, you're sitting, you give this, the place. Little things like this was for me very normal. And then I just think later on, as I got on tour, I had really incredible people, you know, who sort of mentored me and guided me, like Peter Carter, Peter Lundgren, Tony Roach, and then my fitness coach Pierre Paganini early on. So in that spell from sort of 16 to 24, you know, when you're really going from boy to man, I had great people around me, and then of course Mirko was there too in that time, which was very important for me.
You attract good people around you. I mean, is that instinct? Is that you just know what you need?
I mean, very seldom have I been really badly disappointed in my life. I think that was the hardest part for me early on in my career, to actually understand who to trust. It was hard. I didn't enjoy that, because you feel like people are jumping onto the train early on because they predict that you're going to be good and they want to be there at the breakthrough. And then later on you realize, oh, he's maybe in it for the wrong reasons, yet he's a nice guy, but can I trust him or not? It's something that, you know, I wish I could help a lot of the younger guys coming up and telling them, like, you know, do it this way,
yes.
Know who to trust, build a team, you know, and then you hope that these people do everything for the player, but yet the player needs to respect them in a big way. Just because you pay their salary doesn't mean that you own them. So, anyway, I think that was complicated, but you know, I learned a lot from that, and I think it made me the person I am today. And so I definitely got lucky with the people I have around myself. Yeah.
Just a confident Roger Federer right now.
After missing 6 months of tennis, we didn't think we'd see what we saw in January in Melbourne, and I'm not even sure after that people had him second, third, fourth favorite here. Quarter of death, unlikely to get through. Rafa in the round of 16, shame on all of us.
35 is this guy's backhand suddenly the best it's ever been.
A fifth desert crown for Roger Federer.
It's a 2017 that surely even he couldn't have dreamed of.
What inspires you now? Once again, you're at the height of your powers. Once again, you're in with a chance at every major, at every big tournament you enter. Has it ever been better for you as a player, as a grown-up, as a father of 4? I mean, is it even better now than it's ever been?
Possibly. You know, I definitely enjoyed the time when I came up on tour and played against my heroes and the guys I knew from TV. That was generally maybe the most exciting time of my career. It was disbelief to share the locker room with the likes of Sampras and Agassi and Moya and Henman and Curtin and Rafter, and I loved it. It was just
that was a good time.
That was a great time. It was amazing people, you know, unbelievable characters too, and even Nizovic and Rosé, and they were just so much fun. It was really genuinely so cool. It wasn't so professional like it was today, I don't feel yet. And I was just looking around and going like, oh my God, this is like a kid in a candy store. Later on, when I got onto sort of the domination phase, you know, back in 2004, just going from one thing to the next and trying to cope and trying to get organized and doing a red carpet to going to win again, back to another interview, win again, pressure, you know, just managing that. That was an amazing time in my life where I learned so much in such a short period of time. And then you enter the stage I'm in now as a dad. Everything's so much more settled, and I can really just enjoy it, what I'm doing. And I think it is maybe the most exciting because it's the most relaxing, most calm period. I mean, it's not so calm with the kids, but it's just calm overall because I know where I am, I know what I want to achieve. I can't play every week, so it actually gives me more time back and for me to do other things to have a good balance, and I like it that way.